Welcome to Savage Kitchen. It's first week of 2022 and I'm ready for a cocktail. So today we are going to be making a cocktail that I actually started making this past Thanksgiving. So at a friend's house, and it was sort of like chopped cocktails. This is what I've got, make us a cocktail. So this is what we got. We're going to make a cocktail. We're making a cocktail that is sort of like the illicit love child of an old fashioned and a Sazerac, two of my favorite drinks. An old fashioned because this does have some sweetness to it, and it is whiskey based, and a Sazerac because it has some complexity and some depth, and the Amaro that we're going to be using does end a little bit of those herbal and botanical notes that you sometimes find in a Sazerac from the absinthe. So let's get into it, shall we? We are going to be using Redemption Rye. Any rye will do. I personally like Redemption, and I don't do a ton of rye cocktails, but a rye for this versus a bourbon I do think is necessary. So choose your favorite rye whiskey. Then we're going to be using Drambuie, which is a honey flavored liqueur with a Scotch base, and I love Drambuie. I actually did a tasting episode last year, which I'll put a link to up here, talking about my love affair with this and tasting it for the first time. It's delicious. Highly recommend. Then we're going to be adding an Italian Amaro, Montenegro. Amaros are not all created equal. They're actually all pretty different from each other. So you could try a different Amaro in this, but I do recommend the Montenegro. And by the way, I think we're going to do like an ultimate Amaro tasting here very, very shortly. I've got, I don't know, 6 or 7 or 8 or so bottles of Amaro. And I think it's interesting to taste your ingredients. So I think we're going to do a lineup and try all the Amaro and probably get real toasty. So next, we're going to add some apricot liqueur, the Luxardo Apricot Liqueur, and then garnish with a Luxardo cherry. The star of this show is actually the bitters. I'm using toasted almond bitters. These are a little bit hard to find. I was not able to find them in any of my local liquor stores. I stole this from a friend. Thanks, Aaron. These, you can find them online. This adds a nutty quality to the drink that really rounds everything out. If you don't have toasted almond bitters or want to try something else, I think black walnut bitters would work well. Fee Brothers also makes the walnut bitters. And absent that, maybe just your generic Angostura bitters, but this is really delicious. These make great old fashions as well. So if you get some toasted almond bitters, do that. Let's get into it. So we are going to start with our rye. Yeah, 2022 needs hard liquor. And then 1 ounce of Drambuie. I like this on its own, just over ice. This really is one of my favorite liqueurs. And this does add a lot of sweetness to the drink, which is why we're not adding any sort of simple syrup. Then our Amaro Montenegro. Yeah, so we're gonna taste the Montenegro because I've had this in many, many craft cocktails, but I've never tasted it on its own. Oh, I really do like this. It's so it's bittersweet. Amaros in general are bittersweet. But the first sensation when you taste this is the sweetness, and then it's immediately followed up by a floral note. And then it's bitter. And it's very warming. It does taste a little bit like cold medicine. Not my favorite NyQuil Vintage 2019 Sherry Vanilla. It's almost medicinal. You are not interested.
But it probably tastes like cherry cough syrup.
I love cherry cough. I seriously do. Don't look at me like that.
It just takes me back to being a kid, having a cold, and like my parents forcing that down my throat.
Oh no, I was always so willing. Like, oh, I'm really sick. I probably need a little more NyQuil. Amaro is, Amari, the plural, is a world unto itself. There are so many different Amaros, predominantly Italian, but there are Amaros, Amari from other parts of the world, which is why we're going to do a full-on Amaro extravaganza. So we want 1/2 ounce of this. There we go. And then just 1/4 ounce of this Luxardo Apricot Liqueur. You could probably use an apricot brandy, but I might come back on that a little bit because brandy is going to have a higher alcohol by volume and be a little bit more astringent, more alcohol tasting, where this is much more liqueur tasting, and it has the consistency closer to a syrup. Now you need to add a few dashes of almond bitters. And then just a little bit of the syrup from the Luxardo cherries. Now, if you like a more spirit-forward drink and you're not into the sweetness, I don't think you need to add this at all because we're gonna garnish with a Luxardo cherry and that's gonna add just a hint. But if you're somebody who prefers an old-fashioned and likes the sweetness of an old-fashioned, you can add even more syrup. We're just gonna do like 1/2 bar spoon. And now stir this down. Let's give this a taste. Well, not the official taste. It gets better every time. So we're gonna go into a coupe with this cocktail. You could do this over a rock if you want. I've been serving it that way, but quite frankly, I don't have big blocks made, so we're going into a coupe. But I also think that this is the type of drink. I enjoy a Sazerac up. I also enjoy a Manhattan up, so we're gonna do this up. Oh, I love the color on this. This is actually a very pretty drink. Okay, and then we're gonna garnish with a cherry. I need something to stab it with. Oh, come on. It's time for you to die. There we go. I'm gonna make the sacrifice and taste this. Oh. This is my favorite. Honestly, I know I'm enthusiastic about a lot of the things that I make on this channel. This is hands down my favorite cocktail I've made. And also of the people I have made this for, it's their favorite. Big fans all around. If you enjoy whiskey cocktails, rye cocktails, bourbon, I think that you'll like this. It is very spirit forward. It's also very balanced. I don't think in tasting this, you can necessarily identify any one ingredient. There's just a beautiful complexity here. It's just really, really good. So if you make this, please let me know. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. I would love to hear if you make variations, but I would try this spec first. Truly, it is, like I said, it's the favorite cocktail that I have developed a recipe for. I absolutely love it. And make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, because I think we are going to do the this ultimate Amaro tasting in very short order. That should be a lot of fun. So until next time, cheers, friends. Oh, I love this.